Welcome to the Proven Podcast, where it doesn't matter what you think, only what you can prove. On this episode, Kris shares how he bought his business back from bankruptcy, turned it into $55 million a year with only 5 employees. This one's unforgiving, unrelenting, and he's just trying to help. The show starts now. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Kris, I'm excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me, man.
So for the few people who don't know who you are and the success you've had, let's give a little bit of debrief, who you are, what you've done.
My name's Kris Dehnert, and I sell cups. No, I'm just kidding. So I do sell cups, right? But
You do.
that's usually the story I tell people I don't want to talk to because that ends a conversation pretty quick. But when you dig in, we did something really fun. We turned baseball bats barrels into mugs, probably one of the coolest mugs on the planet, and we started with an idea. It started in a kitchen that went to a shed, that went to a garage, that went to $55 million in sales and national, international distribution, every stadium, every state, hundreds of athletes and celebrities and players. And we just make cool stuff, man. We make really cool, high quality, premium, made in North America, giftable stuff. And baseball fans love it, but it's actually transcended that. It went into corporate gifting and wedding gifting, and the list it keeps getting more and more broad, which is amazing to be at the helm of that shit, man.
Yeah, there's 2 things you've done. One, you're selling a product I don't need, but I want, which is challenging as hell to do it. And you've also done it on a shoestring group of people. Like, you don't have a big staff that's doing this, which
Right.
has been really amazing. And it's funny because you sent me one of the mugs, which, again, thank you for one of the mugs. I
Absolutely.
haven't physically touched it yet because my team won't let me near it. They're running around with this, and they're not even freaking sports fans, but you engrave the logo, and they're running around with this thing. And now all of a sudden, it's become this mascot of my org that they're taking it and they're going out to eat with it. And I'm like, what the hell's happening with this mug? So everybody loves it. But this isn't your first business. You've created multiple businesses before. This wasn't an accident. What are some of the other successes you've had?
I think you learn more from the failures, and you know what I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've had some, but yeah, I did really well in the apparel space, and I think there was a direct correlation between that and this because the Dugout Mug to me was just another canvas.
Mhm.
The world of print on demand, there was that big like boom of print on demand T-shirts.
Right.
One of the companies at the center of that was a company called Teespring.
Mhm.
And I was one of the first guys on Teespring, and I kind of brought it to the social media world because I had massive audiences. I had a bunch of fan pages, probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 million fans, probably closer to 7. So it was just push button, make money, and talk to the fan base. Hey, what do you guys want? Oh, we want Christian shirts. It's like, all right,
There you
boom.
go.
And it really allowed. I mean, we were doing that whole business with like 3 people, and we did over $20 million in sales of T-shirts with, I think at our highest point, we had 6 people, and
Mhm.
3 of them were designers because they're just cranking stuff out. One of them was an ads guy, and then one was customer service, and one was me, right?
Right.
So that was a win. If you go into like real life, I think I won at the gym business. I started off at Gold's Gym. I was selling memberships, and I figured out a way to leverage social media. This new website called Facebook that came out, and how
Mhm.
to drive just massive amounts of people, connect with people before they knew that it was kind of like going to be the new norm. That was back in 2003. I guess 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I did really well in the gym business, but you hit that ceiling pretty quick when you realize you're working for somebody else, and it's like, okay, so what am I good at? And I talk a lot about reflection. I'll probably mention it a few more times, but what am I good at? What am I bad at? And one of the things I'm really, really good at is sales, promotion, marketing, networking, things like that. So it's like, okay, well, I can do that one to many, and that just what a domino effect that's had in my life, learning how to leverage technology. Now, I'm not technical, but I know
Mhm.
how to leverage technology,
Right.
right? And that was really cool, and just one thing after another, and here I am selling again. I sell mugs, right? And
Right.
and having a lot of fun doing it.
So, we talked about this right in the beginning. You said, you learn from more from your failures than you will for your
Oh yeah,
success. And we talk about this all the time. You will never succeed your way to success. You will fail your way to success. And
yeah.
most people don't get that. And I'm like, well, look at your kid. When your kid first started walking, it fell. And it fell again, and it fell, and it fell, and it fell. And you didn't sit there after the 50th time and go, well, screw it, I'm going to put it in a wheelchair. You just kept pushing. But we take that out of our kids and our world in school. Let's talk about some of those failures. What are some of the failures that you learned the most, and what were the lessons you learned from them?
Well, I think to your point, what people do is they take away the pain,
Mhm.
and pain and pleasure. Those are the 2 things that really drive people. And when you
Right.
fall, shit hurts. And you fall again and again. You're like, that is it. I am tired of hurting. I'm just going to walk.
Right.
Right. And I think that's what the pain is.
Mhm.
The first time I screwed up, I didn't dial in my contracts and somebody got me for like $250,000. That shit hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't have a $250,000 to lose at the time.
Mhm.
And you learn, okay, now I'm not going to do that again. Dialing in my contracts on the front side with partnerships and deals and collaborations and joint ventures. Um, the restaurant industry. We made a bunch of money selling T-shirts, and me and a few friends. And thank God, in this deal, I was the smallest equity holder, but we lost seven figures doing a restaurant. The old saying, the best way to make $1 million in restaurants is to start with two, or start with
Yeah.
two and open a restaurant. That's the best way to
Yep.
make $1 million. But yeah, like that's a really funky industry, and I had no business being in it. I just had money, so we were just throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. And it's like, well, I don't know about that. So again, from an investment standpoint, I lost a lot, learned a lot. And I believe you're winning or learning. Like those are
Mhm.
your options.
Yep.
And whenever we're losing, we're learning. Okay, don't do that again, or do it again, but different, right? So the restaurant industry got me. The cannabis industry got me. The crypto industry got me.
Yep.
Now I still hold a very aggressive portfolio with crypto, but I learned what not to do.
Mhm.
And again, so again, winning or learning, you learn to stop. The pain made you stop, or the pain made you change. And then when you start doing things right, like Dugout, there's been pain in this company, but the pleasure of it far outweighed it. So this is one of those things that the pleasure is what's driving me. A year and a half ago, when my partner and I decided he was ready to be done, ready to retire. Awesome dude. He's like, you know what? I'm done. Had a kid, just got married, just built a house, all the things, and it wasn't part of his path anymore. And it's like, okay, we could sell it and walk away, but I'm like, I'm having a lot of fun, and it's kind of broken, and I really
Mhm.
kind of want to fix it and really drive it fast again. And that was my driver there. So I think you learn as much from pain. You learn more about yourself in pain, and
Yeah.
then you really learn like what you want with like the pleasure push. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think is a okay way to say that.
Yeah, I think I agree 1,000%. I remember when my first company I ever had was an IT company. We were closing like 90 something percent of our sales and I exploded. I was like, "What are you doing?" I go, "If we're closing that high of a level, then we're not risking enough. We don't have enough pain." So I made everything go up and then we radically increased the company. When you talk about having partners, it's challenging because I want to get to the idea that you're building these empires, these 9-figure companies with a shoestring, where there's just nobody there. How are you
Mhm.
doing this with 5 people? We'll get to that because that's the important part that I think that's really sexy. But when you talk about partnerships, what are the pain lessons that you've learned there? Because again, we've all done it. We've all gotten in bed with people who we just shouldn't have gotten in bed with, or we've turned friendships into partnerships and it ruined the friendship. What are some of the struggles you've run into with that?
I well, the struggles I've run into are, again, I'd rephrase it. What are the lessons I've learned?
Mhm.
Right? I think it's a better way of saying it. And I think reflection again on the front side. Partnerships and deals are won at the beginning. Asking better questions at the beginning, understanding what someone's blueprint looks like at the beginning. Look at a marriage. I want 3 kids. I want none. Hey, that shit ain't going to work, right? Somebody's going to be pissed sooner than later. In business, I want to do this forever. Oh, I'm only on a 4-year plan, right? I'm 22 and full of piss and vinegar. It's like, bitch, I'm 45 and I'm ready to start slowing down. Like you have to look at these blueprints. And
Mhm.
and I don't think enough people do that. They get blinded by cash. And cash is only a singular currency. There's so many other currencies out there, in my opinion. Time, experience, fulfillment, family. Like there's other currencies that are involved. And if you're only basing your decision making off cash and money, I mean, in fairness, that's one of the most common currencies out. We just print that shit. It's not even attached to anything, right?
Ugh,
Like
yeah.
here's more, right?
Mhm.
And to ever make that your north star is foolish, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So I think there's not enough reflection on the front side with partnerships,
Mhm.
and I got blinded by that. Like I got in business with a family member, and it went super sideways. And at the end, I was just like, here, take my half of this shit. I'm out. I can't do this no more. With I mean, other partnerships. Yeah, I mean, trust your gut. I don't think people do that enough. How cliche is that, right?
Mhm.
But really, some friends and I, we always laugh. We're like, I only want to do business with people I'd go on vacation with. It's like, okay, because you got to realize if you're spending this much time with folks, I say it all the time. A good day with bad people can still suck, and a bad day with good people can still be really awesome,
Right.
right? What you're shooting for is a good day with good people, and then pour the champagne. But um, the people in the deal are more important than the deal in
Yes.
most cases, at least in my world, right? Because
100%.
I don't just do things transactionally. Like this is my life. I
Mhm.
don't honestly believe in work life balance, right?
It
It's
doesn't
life.
exist.
Sometimes you're working, sometimes you're golfing, sometimes
Mhm.
you're parenting, sometimes you're crying. Like it's
Yeah.
life. So I try to do life with people I like and with
Mhm.
people I wanna be around.
Right. So it's funny because every time we've talked, within probably 4 or 5 sentences, you talk about your kids. It just
Yeah.
comes out. You talk about, you're like, listen, I'm a family man first. Like the rest of this, I'm sorry, this is more important to me than anything else. Every time we've spoken. When you're starting to build the systems, and there's a difference between systems and processes. Processes involve people, systems don't. That's just, people need to understand that really quickly. You've built empires, a ton of cash, amazing businesses with very few people. Because there's so many times where even I've gone into businesses and they're like, "Oh, I've got 30 staff." I was like, "Cool, how much you making?" Like $1 million a year. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? What do you, this is broken. This is an ineffective model." When you go into that and you're starting to scale, how have you done it? What are the things that you do every single time? So, okay, I need this, I can outsource that, because they're different conversations.
I think understanding what people's, core competency, what is their superpower
Mhm.
kinda thing. Don't ask a fish to climb a tree,
Yep.
the whole adage, right? Um, I always laugh and say there's a reason I'm not jumping hurdles. I'm old and a little fat and I got bad knees. I'm not gonna do very well, right? So I think what you do is you identify the pillars in the company that need attention and need to be managed by a person, and then that person has a particular skill set. So you like hire the person, teach them the job,
Right.
right? If you hire, I'll give George, our guy at the front, like this guy is meticulous, and I hope he watches this because he's epic, right? He's
Hey,
meticulous,
George.
OCD kind of guy.
Mm.
Dude doesn't miss anything, so he's in charge of logistics.
Right.
Right? We got Eric, who you ran commercial kitchens. You want to talk about processes and boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's your dude.
Right.
Again, like you just find people and you lean into them. Like people, oh God, I've heard it so many times and I hate it.
Yeah.
Even old partners of mine said it and I hated it. It's like, oh, if you don't know something, you should go learn it. It's like, fuck that. If I don't know something,
Mhm.
best case scenario, I'm gonna be mediocre if I
At
go spend
best.
time, energy, effort, and resources to figure this shit out. Best bet is to get somebody else. I don't mow my own yard. My pool guy was here earlier. He's cleaning the pool. He's gonna do it better than me.
Mhm.
I'm up here chatting with you. The
Right.
lawn guys are about to be here in a minute. It's just like we do it in so many other areas of our life. My point back to your question is I find people, I find out what they do best, and then I try to inspire them to go for the vision that we have collectively put together. And if people feel ownership in the vision that's been created, buddy, they're gonna be behind it and behind you all the way. And I like to step away. You probably heard me say it in the past, but like give direction, not directions. That was a
Mhm.
funny way of us explaining it internally that really kind of stuck with me. And
Mhm.
it was you're really good at this, Jared, and you're really good at this, George, and Nate, and Brian, and Eric, and Tony, and Tina, and Milagros. Like, y'all are good at what you do. Can we all agree that this is where we're driving? All, yeah, all in our own little car, our own little lane? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm out. And they just
Mhm.
drive there because they have ownership in what we're doing. They believe what we believe. They see what we see. So I think asking better questions, empowering people to think freely and operate freely,
Mhm.
the micromanagement world blows. I don't think it's
Doesn't
a good
work.
model. People hate
Mhm.
it, and they're
Mhm.
hating it more. And the
Right.
group of kids that are coming up and group of workers that are coming up, they hate it even more.
Right.
But you got to have that's where the systems, that's where the technology and some of this other stuff comes into play. You put up these roadblocks so they're not
Mhm.
jumping you off a cliff. That's kind of it's kind of a hybrid.
It's interesting. We always talk about this. I don't care about the how. The how's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
You're gonna figure that out. If I've hired well enough, you're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna let you go through this environment. I'm gonna put basic bumpers in you. It's like, hey, if you get too far off track here or there, but I would rather you ask for forgiveness and permission. Going down to like,
Yeah.
this is where we're going. I really don't care how we get there. I don't care if on a simple, very watered down version of this, I don't care if you're on a Mac or you're on a PC. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Just go. I don't care if you
Just
work at
get the
night
email
or
out.
if you work in the day. Just go. Just
I don't
fucking
care if
go.
you're writing a damn letter. Get the
Yeah.
message out.
100%. And like
You
we
know?
had this literally in my org recently. Someone was putting together an email and they reached out and it's like, hey, I don't know if this email's right. I'm like, does it have all the key things? They're like, yes. I'm like, I don't care what the email sounds like. Go. They're like, well, can I use ChatGPT? I'm like, I have hired the wrong person. So we're already in the process of replacing that person because I'm like, listen, if you're that person who needs to be guided on that level, you can't make systemized, streamlined
Mhm.
teams. So one of the fears that people have when they build teams is like, okay, I need to have coverage. I've hired Susie. Susie is in charge of sales. What happens if Susie wins the lottery, gets eaten by a purple dragon, whatever else it is? How do you offset that? Because Susie one day may, win the lottery or get hit by a bus or whatever it is. How do you offset that fear?
I don't have a solid answer for that. I think what it really comes down to is having um documented processes
Hmm.
and systems. I mean, with AI, and we touched on it, but like with AI, buddy, especially with what I do, and I think it's unique, right? I think people's journey is unique. Their businesses are unique. They have a lot of the same components. I'm not foolish. I know that. But I think how those components work and interact, and also the person running it and managing it has a lot to do with it. Like I'm a big hands-off guy. So yeah, we're leaning into AI.
Hmm.
We just replaced customer service with AI. It's not that the girl was bad. She wasn't great, but she wasn't bad. But it's like, so AI is going to work 24/7. It's infinitely scalable. Midnight, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, all the way through Christmas when we normally have to double or triple our team. I'm like, yeah, okay, we're going to do that. It just makes sense. Design. I make these designs for the mugs. Well,
Hmm.
AI is doing a really good job ripping these things out. Okay.
Right.
So then that, and then with the API and the integration with ecom in particular, and with that's why I stay so lean.
Hmm.
We're really lean. The only thing we're physically doing is engraving, cleaning, packing the mugs.
Right.
That's it. We went from a 500 square foot facility. We're in the
Hmm.
process in the next 90 days. We're going to be down to 8,000. We cut a third of our space by becoming more efficient. We identified what do we need, what do we not need. Again, ask better questions. We don't
Hmm.
need this 4,500 square feet over here full of additional overhead and 7 extra people.
Hmm.
We could just put that on this other side. Again, it's understanding what you're doing, and then it's like, the back in the day, the index cards on the table and moving shit around, like, how does it work? It sounds basic, but, like, that works. I mean, you gotta understand the moving pieces of the company, and it's like, well, the 80/20 rule, I mean, pick your cliche. Well, 80% of our stuff's coming from over here. Why the hell we got 80% of our people working on the 20? Well,
Right.
how can we be more efficient? So there's a couple opportunities I'm looking to roll up right now because they'll
Hmm.
fit perfectly into the systems that we have. They'll fit perfectly into this new streamlined system at the 8,000 square foot place, and the strengths here and the strengths here are like they click. Like it just, if your plate's more clear by not getting in the weeds, I feel like you can put better things together, and
Right.
and and that's where I try to focus. So I have to be hands off.
So when you talk about asking better questions,
Hmm.
because there's everyone talks in platitudes all the time. What are the tactical? These are the questions that have always had the best ROI for me. Like these are the questions I ask every single time on any single project when we get stuck or if we're going to expand or anything else. What are the ones that you're like? These are the questions I asked.
Where are we? What's going right? What's going wrong? What do we need to do different? I mean,
Right.
I've said that hundreds of times. If we understand what we're doing wrong, like right now, I'll tell you what we're doing wrong. We're not as forward facing on social media as we once were. We got 2.5 million people on TikTok. I got 100,000 on, 120,000 on Facebook. I got another 100,000 on Instagram. Like we got a lot of people. We're access to a lot of people. Our email list is like 800,000. Our SMS is a couple 100,000. Like this is a stack of people, right? And
Right.
we're not doing a good enough job communicating with them as we once did. So, and I know, like, this is my style. I love it, bro. I love sticky notes. They stay right next to me. because I know, and I can only put like 3 things at a time on them. So I'm like, check, 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 throw that shit over there. So like for me, I know one of the things we're doing the worst right now was forward facing. So I started hopping on more podcasts. I was like, all right, well, I can certainly tell my story a little bit more and talk about the company a little bit more. So I
Mhm.
committed to that. I'm doing that. And again, it's just that's what I ask. What are we doing wrong? Our conversion rate sucks. Okay, you're only focusing on conversion rate right now. And then what are we doing right? And we just kind of put that on ice. Right now, we're manufacturing mugs. We're doing a really good job. Our fulfillment's on point. We don't need to, where could we shave? And we're like, well, with AI in particular, it's like, well, we can shave design and we can shave customer service. That saves us like $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 a year bottom line. That's not massive numbers, but those
They add
numbers
up.
matter, right?
Well, I think it's the conversation people have all the time, like how to become wealthy. You're not hitting grand slams. It's these singles.
Hmm.
Singles, get on base. For
Hmm.
the idea of the dugout, just get on base as quickly and as intensely as you can. So,
Well,
what?
figure it out later. Like,
Yeah.
ready, fire, aim. Like, make a move, measure the move, and be ready to
Mhm.
adjust. I mean, these
Yeah.
people that just get on the bus and ride it until the damn wheels fall off. I mean, you can do that. I don't
Mhm.
suggest it. Randall and I made a great move whenever COVID came around. It's like we could have kept pushing what always worked, but we decided not to do that. We decided to change our marketing from people at ball games and tailgating to backyard barbecues and living rooms, right? Because we're marketing to people where we were. If we would have stuck to this other thing, that's the blockbusters, that's the
Right.
circuit cities, that's the Kmart's. Like if you try to do the same thing, the wheel till the wheels fall off, your ass the wheels are gonna fall off. So I think being fluid is really, really, really important.
When you have a small team, they see your growth, right? They're in there, they're with you, they bleed
Mhm.
with you, and that's why it's important to work with people you actually like. But also one of the catches here is they're gonna see your profits as well. How do you work with that compensation thing where like, "Hey, guys, you did a great job. We made an extra $10 million this year." How do you deal with compensation on that level? Do you incentivize them? How integrated are they in that success?
I've had very open conversations with those who can wrap their head around the content of the conversation. Um, Probably a third of my team will meet. So we do Monday meetings. We link up Monday 10 a.m. What's going right? What's going wrong? What do we need to change? What do we all need to know about? Who's leaving? Who's coming? Who's going? Is there a fire we need to collectively put out? Right. So everybody's kind of just got this team atmosphere. It's easier to manage when it's smaller.
Mhm.
Um, as far as the profits, I explain in a way that they understand what I'm saying. Vanity metrics are not worth even looking at. Oh, we did $10 million. It's like, yeah, but if we only made 1 million and we had 600,000 in overhead, that means there's only four, right? So I don't mind guiding people and talking to them and being transparent. I think transparency, I mean, people aren't stupid either.
Right.
I think more now than ever, access to information is everywhere. So you don't want to treat, and I don't want stupid people around me anyway, but you don't want to treat people, um, assume they're ignorant. So I'm actually more about being transparent with them, and they're well paid. Actually, when I first bought when I stepped in, I took over the company. Um, we were in not a great place, like 7 figures in debt, 7 figures over here for the buyout, and fucking a half a million. Like it was ugly, and I was like, okay, well, I know I can't do it without these people, so let's talk to the people. Half the team got a raise on the first day,
Nice.
and it was about me committing to that. And they knew it's like, hey, not a good spot, but you're getting a raise because I need you for this. Don't drop the ball. Here's the ball. Go. Right. And some of the response to that has just been tremendous when you have faith in the people like that. So
Mhm.
I've been really transparent about um now there are times where they see thousands and thousands and thousands of mugs going on. They just like, oh, this guy's just getting fat and happy over here. Um, and we do, we do bonuses and we do incentive stuff. I've looked into some um, uh, employee stock options kind of thing, and ownership. Right? Like I don't. I don't need it. I'm actually really basic. I'm flops and t-shirts and hats pretty much every day. So as long as my bills are paid, my kids are happy, and I'm living the lifestyle I want, like I don't mind sharing the wealth. These are the people making it happen, and that's just the
Mhm.
mentality I have.
Right.
I'm
You
collecting
mentioned
other currencies, man.
absolutely. And I don't think people understand that. Really don't think that. If you think money is going to make you happy, it's not. It's never gonna happen. It makes life easier, it's a great tool. I love being able to use it and, be in
Yeah,
first class,
tool.
be in business class. It's a great tool, but it's not gonna make you happy. It isn't. A lot of people talk about AI and the integration with it, and you've optimized it. What are some of the AI tools that you're using now to make your life easier?
Basic. I mean, I use Claude. I like that one. Uh,
Mhm.
my CEO Jared, he uses ChatGPT, and I think he got like the upgraded one. And then
Yeah.
obviously Grok is doing some interesting stuff. Anything Elon's touching is interesting. So
Mhm.
um, that's pretty much it. Now we use our CRM. We use Gorgeous,
Mhm.
and it has an AI component in there, which has been really impressive.
Okay.
So the teams got on and integrated that with our customer service, and I
Mhm.
mean, I'm getting emails back from me. It's like, "Hey, check this out. Don't forget to click here," and it just walks you right through it and
Right.
responding. And I'm reading some of the responses. It's like, dude, that's like 95% on point. And then the more you teach it, the better it's getting. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, that's why we're doing it right now, Q3, because when Q4 hits, this thing's going to be on point and infinitely
Right.
scalable. So that's probably the one we've used the most.
Mhm.
I've seen there's some other guys, Mike Weiss, shout out to Mike, and I know Glenn Dietzel's doing some stuff too, where voice AI, some of the
Mhm.
stuff that's going on there is because I'm in a mastermind board of
Mhm.
advisors, so I meet with these guys every quarter, and listening to some of the stuff they're talking about, dude, it's wild. Like
Yeah.
the voice AI, the outbound, infinite calling voice AI,
Mhm.
setting
Mhm.
up stuff and lead gen, and just dropping them right onto a calendar. There's some pretty cool stuff happening.
Gotcha. So the one that you're using where you've, replaced customer service, that's gorgeous?
Yeah, so we were using Gorgeous in the past, and we were manually doing it. It's kind of
Mhm.
just like a hub where
Mhm.
social and email and blah blah blah, and they launched their AI piece a while back, and it took us forever to get to it. And it's like, let's take a look at that. And Jared, he's my right hand man in Dugout. He's like, dude,
Mhm.
I'll figure it out. I said, okay, dude, figure it out. Let me know what you come up with. He jumped in, boom, 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 and yeah, bro, it's rocking. It's rocking.
Hmm. So normally when we go through these and we break things down step by step by step, if someone wanted to come in and do this, say what has been proven to work more than anything else outside of hiring right, keeping it lean, asking the very specific questions, what is working, what is not working, what do we need to fix right now? What are some of the other things that you've run into that are like, hey, this, if I took everything away right now and I had to start over, what are the proven things that you've done that have created radical success?
I think success is a unique experience. I think it's unique to each person.
Mhm.
So, what I would do is I would go back to a place of peace and balance and try to understand what I really want.
Mhm.
Right. So for me, when my daughter was born 10 years ago, I got super sick, almost died. Like that really sucked. Best thing that ever happened to me, honestly. But I came
Mhm.
out the other side of that and I was like, okay, what's important to me? And it's like, well, I don't really want to be away from my house anymore. I've been working from home since before it was cool, right? Uh, and so it's about really understanding where you're trying to end up and then understanding who around, like I only take advice from people who are where I wish to be. So it's
Yeah.
like understanding who your core support group and community is. That's why I'm in the mastermind, right? Um and so like that's not like a tactical answer, but I
Mhm.
think the how to do stuff is not nearly as difficult as people make it out, especially when we're in the age of technology and learning, right? I think it's understanding what success looks like, feels like, sounds like,
Mhm.
and then then everything that lands on your plate, it's like it is or isn't black and white. It is or isn't in the direction where you want to go. Like this is where I want to go. This is where I want to be. I want to make $10,000 a month with working 10 hours a week, and I want to be able to go to every single dance and softball game and baseball game with little Billy, and I want to take my wife on a date night every week, and I want to have some investments so that when my kids, like that, bro, the understanding what that looks like, I think is really what it's about, not the tactical measures to do it. I also think now if you do need that advice, I would say, um, I'm a huge fan of create a system you're not a component of.
Mhm.
Uh, because my goal is to be irrelevant in the system. I want to be the beneficiary, of course, but I want, if I'm always in the weeds, I can't, be over here where I want to be. So I would tell people create a system you're not a component of. Um, I would tell them to really do due diligence on anybody else who's going to be a decision maker in the venture. Um, I would say uh, identify like w- make sure it's fun. And
Right.
I know that sounds weird, right? Because fun, to me, fun's a major currency,
Mhm.
but there has to be a release at some point in what you're doing because it's not always easy. It's
Mhm.
not always gonna work, and I think having fun along the way will allow you a lot more, uh, resilience and durability so you can last a little longer because you're constantly getting a release along the way. I think those things are what I tell people.
Yeah, I think it's rare to have someone show up with the honesty and the vulnerability you have, which is start with the filter, which is I don't want to be involved. I want to be at my kids' baseball games, ballet. That's my filter. So if I got offered a job making a bazillion dollars, but I'm never going to be home, it doesn't work for me. So put your filters in place. Where do you want to go first? I talk about this all the time. If you're going to shoot an arrow, you don't fire the arrow and then think, where do I want it to go? You identify your target first, then you filter out from there. So most people don't do that. The second step is having the confidence enough in yourself to know I'm not important. I'm irrelevant to the process. So I need to fire me from the beginning. If it relies on me, then I've just made a prison, not a business. And most people don't have that conversation. Most people are coming and going, hey, I'm special. This is what I know how to do. I'm amazing. My grandmother made great cookies. Therefore, hence, I have to make great cookies. My hallucination is you did not grow up wanting to sell fucking mugs. That just wasn't your ball game. You're like, "Hey, I'm gonna make mugs
It
for
wasn't a
everybody."
line on career day, dude, but
Yeah.
I'm kinda
Yeah.
glad where I landed. Now, if I look at what my core competency is, sales,
Mhm.
networking, promotion, like, put me on TV, I'm in, right?
Right.
I can do it. So I understand the prison sentiment you made a minute ago. You didn't make a business, created like a prison cell, and I'm currently in the process of this now. All this shit's a daily practice, okay?
Yeah,
This isn't,
absolutely.
"Oh, shit, I got it." No, it's a daily practice.
Mhm.
Just like taking a shower, bro. You're dirty, take a shower. This is
Mhm.
constant, repetition. It's the mother of all learning, right? So
Mhm.
for me, I'm currently trying to build out a sales team because
Mhm.
that is what I do best. I've been able to stay in my power zone in this business, my superpower in this business almost the entire 8 years, and that's why we've seen some of the success that we've had. The majority of it, I would say, is because of my ability to just push and drive and connect and make shit happen, right? But I also realize that it is starting to be heavily reliant on me to bring those sales in on the front side. So now we're
Yes.
putting the people in place,
Right.
right? What really sucks is if you get stuck in a corner that you just don't know how to clean, or you don't know how to handle. Like that is brutal. Um, but
Yeah, you were talking
fortunately, I
earlier.
got stuck in my power zone. But even that, I'm in the process of trying to remove myself.
You talked about Post-it notes that you have. I literally have a Post-it note. It's the only one that I keep on my computer that says "Fire yourself." Like, it
Yeah.
just sits above it, like, "Fire yourself." If I'm mission critical to the process, I have failed. I have created a prison, I have not created a business. It's a different conversation. The stuff that makes me the most money, I'm not involved in. So I'm constantly working every day, and I love that you said, it's like going to the gym. You gotta keep doing it over and over and over, and it's an everyday practice to sit there and fire yourself out because yesterday's
That's a
success
good
isn't
question
guaranteed.
to ask yourself. Again, when you're asking
Yeah.
better questions, if
Mhm.
I was an employee, would I fire me?
Mhm.
A lot of people don't ask themselves that. And you're like, "Oh, I'm kinda fucking show up late every day, leave early every day, I have a beer at noon." It's like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I would let me hang around
Wait,
like
I'm not supposed to do that? Wait, I'm not that's not normal? Shit.
well, hey, if you would fire you, maybe you're the problem.
Right. Yeah, see, my
Maybe you
goal
need to get
is to
out of the
make it.
way.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. My goal is that I am not mission critical, that I don't matter, and that to speed that process up as fast as possible. Now, you mentioned earlier you're running through some struggles, which is, hey, we've dropped the ball and we haven't been social enough, and I'm doing the
Mhm.
podcast and you're doing all that. When you're asking better questions there, what are some of the ways that you're like, hey, why did you decide podcast versus about a million other different ideas? That as many as you said that, I was like, well, shit, I've got this laundry list that I would go do. Why did you decide this was the best path and allocation of time?
I had a lot of people it was easy. I had a lot of people asking. They're like, "Dude, you gotta share your story with me. Can you hop on? Can you hop on?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I don't have time."
Right.
But it's like, you know what? I mean, really, I did a podcast one time and I shared the story when I got sick, and a guy reached out to me. He was in another country. He reached out to me and he said, "Hey, dude, I listened to that podcast the other day and it saved my life because a week later, this and this and this happened." I don't want to share his business, but this happened. And I remembered what you said. I immediately went to the hospital and they said if I'd wait another hour, I'd be dead. I was like, that's crazy. So you never know what kind of ripples you're putting out there and
Mhm.
the impact of those. They could turn into a tsunami, right? And of good somewhere else. And um, I think I owe that to people. I'm speaking tomorrow morning at a high school for emerging leaders. There's a charity called R2 Cares that I work with here locally, and it's my alma mater. I graduated 25 years ago from there, and I'm going to go speak the inaugural speaker at this thing,
Nice.
like a auditorium full of people, talk about emerging leadership and all this. So it's like I feel like that's part of success for me.
Mhm.
I'm not that guy that's like all stoked about leaving a legacy, like, that's fine. As long as the people that matter care about me and remember that's I
Right.
did my job. But I feel like putting the good out there is part of your responsibility as an influential person.
Mhm.
And I like that, and it was a lay down. I'm fine on camera, I got plenty of shit to talk about. What I do is cool, fun, and sexy, and
Yeah.
people buy it. Like, at this point, like, the corporate gifting side of what we're doing is really interesting. So I mentioned to you, like, we're making mugs for Coors and Miller and Coke and Pepsi and Yamava and Hard Rock and Celsius and T-Mobile, Capital One, like, crazy.
Mhm.
So a lot of business people have been buying our mugs, 36 here, 75 there, 100 here, and they're gifting them out. Just like you said, your team, right? Like, they're gifting them out because these things kill.
Yeah.
And the podcast is a great way to do that. Podcast hosts give them out to guests, and it's just a lot of cool stuff. And it only took an hour here, an hour there. I can do it on the fly. I could do it if I'm in,
Right.
traveling. Um, it's not the only thing we're doing, right? Like, I'm also doing a lot of PR. Like, a few days ago, we were on Good Morning America, launched our Savannah Bananas line with our MLB line, and we did okay. Yeah, we did
Mhm.
pretty good. So mainstream media PR I'm doing, this kind of fit right into that. There's a couple magazines that just did a write up. I was in Valiant CEO,
Mhm.
Tampa Bay Business Wealth, Fast 50, Business Journals, Forbes, entrepreneur.com. Like, there's a lot of features. And again, it's just, I'm building a personal brand. This isn't my first rodeo with Dugout. I've had 9 other companies before this. So my personal brand is going to outlive this company. So I'm just constantly doing things and taking little steps in the right direction. You can have 2 broken legs, dude, but if you're moving, like, you're still moving.
You're still moving.
Little feet are just moving. And until some of these other things shake out, like the paid ads and the traffic and the algorithms that are, adjustments that are happening, and all this kind of stuff, I think just keep moving. Keep
Yeah.
it moving.
So why do you think in the print on demand, which was a very saturated market, what
Mhm.
what made you stand out? How did you succeed and win where others didn't?
Speed to market principle and the fact I took that shit serious. So speed to market was I didn't sit around and wait. I saw an opportunity and I jumped in, and I jumped in with both feet. I didn't just trickle my toe in the water. It's like, all right, dude, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to fail fast, fall forward.
There
Because
you
if
go.
we lose, bro, we're going to lose now and we're going to be on to the next thing. And that's why I actually got out of POD.
Right.
So we jumped in, and I treated it like a business. We had business meetings every week. We had the designers. Here's 5 things I'm thinking about. What do we want to try? Hey, this just happened. So our company was called Chasing Trends. And that's what
Mhm.
we did. It's like this happened on this reality show. Everybody's losing their mind over it on social. I need 5 concepts around that. Right. And then we ran it like a business,
Mhm.
not like a hobby or you're moonlighting doing something. We took a shit serious and we won. And also we were in the market fast, and then we were fluid enough to identify when things started like changing. So whenever I ended up being the piece. So I helped Teespring kind of write their affiliate program
Mhm.
because I identify it's like, okay, well, this market's getting saturated. So everybody's going to want, they wrote an article about me, like, guy makes $1 million on Teespring or something. And so I started getting a lot of people reaching out. And I was like, all right. So I put an affiliate program in place where I made 50 cents a shirt in perpetuity.
Mhm.
Very special word, that perpetuity. And
Yeah.
on anybody I bring to the platform. So then it's like, hey, I'm going to launch a digital mastermind. So then they paid me for me
Mhm.
to show them what to do. Then I referred them to here, and then I'm making residuals over here. We sold like 3 million t-shirts through that program. I made $1.5 million, 50 cents at a time on shit I never sold, touched, nothing.
Right.
And so again, like you have to be fluid and not be scared of changing. And sometimes that can really land in your favor. Um, People are scared to change, but the only thing that is consistent is change. And
Right.
and I think that is why we won. We went in hard. We knew when to move. We
Mhm.
treated it like a business. And anything you should just treat it like it'll be as serious as you are.
Right.
I think.
And if you don't take it serious, it's not gonna work. That's just the reality. You either go all
Right.
in or you don't. So what is next for you? I know Dugout's growing and you're expanding it and the mugs are just you've infected my entire team, you bastard. I have to buy mugs for
Spread
them.
disease, baby.
Um, yes, and I have to buy more mugs from you. So, but what is next for y'all and what y'all are doing?
Synergy, identifying synergy. There's, a digital company that's out there that's very much in line with what we're doing. There is, some woodworking stuff that fits very well with what we're doing. There's another company that's out there that is their systems are not as clean as mine. So I can roll up a company that's making X dollars and literally
Mhm.
double the revenue, double the bottom line
Mhm.
just by bringing it in house and plugging it into my efficient systems. So
So
trying to find ways to grow by acquisition
mhm.
versus just grow by additional sales, because when you force that, you can really lose your ass because you're blowing ad dollars just burn, might as well light it on fire, right?
S
So I'm trying to grow by acquisition
Mhm.
and continue to groom the people within my company to replace me so that I'm more of a consultative like role. I think that's what the next 2 to 3 years looks like. And now that the company's all mine, honestly, I'm not really in a hurry. The events I get to go to and the things I get to do and the people I get to hang out with. I own a golf company as well, big golf.
Mhm.
So I have a cigar line. So I have
Mhm.
beer and baseball and golf and cigars and breweries and
Fun stuff.
yeah, it's like, what else am
It's
I gonna do?
yeah, it's the stuff as a teenager, you'd be like, "This is gonna be great." So when you talk about your systems are more efficient, walk me through that. What do you mean by your systems are better than and then how did you develop those? Because 'Cause I'm a systems guy. If you wanna talk there's very few things in the world that get me more excited than systems.
Um, what's where I just walk in there. And so my daughter, my 10-year-old goes up there with me, in busier times. I'm like, "Hey baby, we're going to work today." She's like, "All right, Dugout Mug shirt on, hat on, let's go." And she's just taping boxes, slapping stickers, doing everything. Just loves working with dad, which is one of my favorite things too. But
Mhm.
um I walk around and it's like, that's a step I didn't need to take. Why? Why are we doing that? Oh, 'cause
Mhm.
that's how we've done it. It's like, noted. I go in just yesterday, I went in there and there's a whole table, like 200 mugs in the back. It's all teams and custom and oh, shit's everywhere. And then one big table, it's like a brick of mugs on top of this massive 8, 10 foot table. I'm like, what's this? And they're like, oh, those are the ones that either had a little dent in it or the thing was a little crooked or this and that. So like, y'all just set it here and walked away. And like, yeah. I was like, all right. So
Okay.
it's like, now we just blow these out, turn mugs back into money.
Yeah.
One of my favorites recently was we had the mugs are on a rotary device like this, dude, and this laser's hot. Sometimes it'll
Right.
just freak out and zap a hole right through this thing. So they're just throwing this whole thing away. So
Mhm.
I was up there. Let me see. I know I got one here sitting here. I know I do. Let me see if I can find it. I annihilated some stuff this morning. Oh, here it is, literally right in front of my face. So you're gonna love this. So this thing, we would just throw this away.
Mhm.
Instead, I cut off the bottom starting right here because all this is solid wood. So then we started making back
Posters.
slices turned into
Yeah.
ornaments and
Ornaments.
keychains.
There you
So
go.
now you want a Phillies keychain or a Yankees keychain. So this was trash, and we're just throwing them out, dude. Because what are you gonna do with it, right? So now I can turn it into 6 keychains that sell for $20 a piece or $15 a piece. That's $90. I turned trash into $90,
Right.
right? That was an efficiency. I walked up there and I just, again, I just I put myself out of the situation and I just look.
Mhm.
We had 2 big ass shipping containers. I'm like, why do we got these? And they're like, oh, a few years ago. I was like, stop right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said, "What's in them?" And they said, "Well, we got golf balls in this one, and it's about half full, and we got some other random shit in this one, and it's half full." I was like, "So what you're saying is we can make one of them all the way full, and one of them can leave?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay,
Oh god.
well, guess what
Okay.
we're doing today?" And everybody shifted over one to this, filled one up, sold it for like $1,100. It's only
Okay.
$1,100, but dude, I'll take
It adds
$1,100
up.
every time you want to give it out. And I,
Yeah.
I think to me, it's just a common sense, and I know it's not common, right? I know how I
It's
think
not.
is unique.
Mhm.
I walk in there and I'm like, why do we have these boxes only stacked 4 high? Well, because the roof's only 8 feet, 9 feet. I'm like, okay, so if we had a 12-foot roof, we
Mhm.
wouldn't need as much floor space and we could just stack up. And all these dudes just stack here until we pull them down and engrave. They're like, yeah. I said, okay. So the new facility, guess what? 15-foot ceilings.
There you go. Changes
Okay.
the and it's these little
Why are
details
there
that change
stairs?
it.
How many times
Yeah.
count, how many times you come down these stairs a day?
Mhm.
30 or 40. Okay, so what you're saying is if we took down upstairs and we set it down next to downstairs and
I'm gonna
cut a
save
hole in
time.
the wall, we could just go in a circle. And they're like,
Mhm.
"Yeah." I was like, "Well, guess what this new place is? 4,000 and 4,000 side by side, holes in the middle, holes in the sides." It's like
Go in circles.
it's
It's
simple
not hard.
stuff, but I think
Right.
constantly looking for holes or improvements and
Mhm.
never take your eyes off of that. Yeah, so when people bring deals, and I have a lot of deals landing on my desk, right? Um, the first thing I do is I poke holes because
Mhm.
I know when I can't poke a hole in it, that's a winner.
Right.
So that's what I do with my business. I walk around and I'm like, why do we have 2 versions of a Red Sox mug? In the system, it's the same damn mug. This one
Mhm.
says Red Sox on the tag, and this one's a Red Sox logo, but it's the same mug, but it's just printed up different with the SKUs. Like, I don't know. Well, guess what? You're going through the system today, and you're going to wipe out every duplicate that's in there, and we're going to simplify it.
Mhm.
It's just stuff like that, man.
Right.
It's really not complicated. It just
It really isn't.
find the problems, find the holes,
Mhm.
and fix one at a time.
Well, I think it also starts again, you got that filter first. The first filter is I'm not gonna go pull 40 hours a week. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna be with my daughter. I'm gonna be with my family. That's the thing. So how can I make sure that it's efficient? If someone's starting through this and they're struggle busing and they're like, hey man, Kris is amazing. I'm not gonna be at this high school reunion thing, but I want to get a hold of him. I want to be part of this. I want to get to this process. How do people get a hold of you? How do they reach out to you? What's the best way to do that?
The only social I have that's public is LinkedIn. I find there's more serious people over there. My
Mhm.
Instagram is friends and family. Sure, I could grow it and get a whole bunch of likes, and those are the vanity metrics that don't matter.
They don't.
So I pretty much just you made everything private, other than LinkedIn. I still do consulting. It's not as common that I do that, but I'll
Mhm.
do 90-day sprints with people. Like, hey, I
Mhm.
got a product. Hey, I got a company. Hey, I got an idea. I help them get dressed, get ready for the party, go to the party, connect the dots. I'm out.
Right.
Right? I still do some of that, but again, it has to check the boxes, right?
Mhm.
Can I play with my friends? Can I leverage my network? Would my kids be proud of me? Is it going to be fun? Does the other person
Right.
suck? Like, these are real check boxes, man.
Yeah, they're
And
real.
and if you check all those boxes, like, okay, this is a deal I'd probably play around with.
Mhm.
You're buying my time. You're doing it for
Mhm.
3 months. At the end of that, we can have a conversation. Do I continue as from an equity standpoint because we really got something humming here, and it's
Mhm.
not going to really work without me. Um, then I have that. So that's how I got into Dugout. Is
Mhm.
I got 40% equity in the company on the front side for no money down
Mhm.
because of my involvement in what I was able to do. And then my golf company, I own 60% of that company for no money down. And
Mhm.
and it was a brand that had over $500,000 in golf ball sales right off the bat. So it's like, um, it does it fit my lifestyle? Can I play with my friends? Can I have fun? This is, all these questions. So I still do my consulting. That's why I leave LinkedIn, and I'm really pretty responsive over there.
Mhm.
Uh, but I would say that, and then obviously Dugout Mugs and Big Golf. I mean, check out what we're doing. What we're doing is awesome. Period.
Yeah. The
Without
so we Yeah, absolutely. When we get sent stuff, because we get sent shit all the time, it normally lands flat. Your stupid mug. I'm actually a little pissed, but they fucking love this thing. My entire team won't let me touch it at this point. They're running around with it, and so they're amazing. So if people want one of the mugs, where do they go? How do they get access to it?
dugoutmugs.com. That's the place to get it. Now, if you want to do some custom stuff or get like some corporate mugs or something, just shoot us a message. There's
And
right on the site, right on the site. Just pop it in there. Hey, saw Kris on a podcast. Wanted to chat about doing some custom stuff, and we're officially licensed with Major League Baseball, the Savannah Bananas. Like we got it all. So you can do like Yankees mugs on one side from your friends at XYZ Corp on the back. We can do all that good stuff. So yeah, pretty much, man. If you want to come up with something awesome, let me know.
and what I loved about it was how fast it was.
Quick,
It literally, it was like within 2 days it was there. I was like, "What
sick.
just happened?" It was
These
sick.
guys are
So,
dialed in. They only
yeah,
do what they do best and they don't do anything else. I don't walk up
love
there
it.
and say, "Hey, Eric, looks like you're really managing shit well. Can you go clean this thing?" No. Or,
Exactly.
"Hey, Tina, you're really just on top of getting everything out the door. Can you go run the lasers?" Like, and that's what people do. And I've seen it. I'm guilty of it. That's why I know it screws stuff up. Is you find what somebody's doing and then you have them go do something else. I do it at I'll tell you a little story and we can wrap because I know you got to roll. I was at my mastermind the other day and this guy, his name was Phil. Actually, he just put in an order this morning for mugs. So shout out Phil. But he's like, all right, write in cursive with your dominant hand. Write your name. And everybody did. And he had like 10 seconds to do it because who remembers cursive? He said, now write it with your left hand in the same amount of time, and it gave you 20 seconds, right? More time, and it looked like
Yeah,
trash.
horrible.
Okay,
Mhm.
but what he said is like this is an example of what's happening in your business. So people are more focused. And they take twice the time to do a shittier job because what
Mhm.
you ask them to do is so far outside of their comfort zone.
Right.
Like what a great
What a
example
great
with
example.
1
Good job,
minute
Phil.
to
Yeah.
execute. It's like you can do a okay job if you know what you're doing, then you can do
Mhm.
a half-ass job in twice the time if it's not your lane, but all the time people are applying unnecessary pressure on employees by asking them to do what they're not best at. And I thought
1,000%.
and that really landed, right? It
Yeah, that
really
was a really
landed.
good one. That's huge. So, man, I appreciate there's so many different insights and things, and I've got to talk to you about mugs. But Chris, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really
Love
appreciate
it.
it.
Yeah, I'm always down to jump on, man. If you ever want to rap about something else, let me know. I'm around.
Sounds good, man. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
See ya.
All right, that wraps up our episode. Chris is one of those few entrepreneurs who just gets in your face. He only buys what he loves, he only does what he loves. We jokingly talked about it after the call, where he's like, dude, my entire life is sports, booze, and cigars. I get to do that every day and then go back to my family. What other life could you want? Talk about the proof of real entrepreneurship right there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.